Hi everyone and welcome back to Mrs. Ruiz's class. Today I have a wonderful interactive read aloud that I'm sure you will enjoy, and it's titled Frida. Okay, so before we get into this amazing book, let's think about our objective. So today students will learn about the life of Mexican artist Frida Kahlo. As we read, we will make inferences about Frida Kahlo's life and the beautiful artwork she created. So, as you can tell, I dressed for the occasion. I hope you like my Mexican ensemble. And here to join us, we have my beautiful Mexican dolls that are also dressed for the occasion. And today, my special guest will be Mayito. She's going to be my reading pal. So she knows a lot about Mexican culture, Mexican artwork, and I'm sure that if her and I put our brains together, we're going to make some good inferences about Frida Kahlo. So if you look back at the objective, I said that we're going to make inferences. So, maybe you need to think about that for a minute. Put your thinking cap on, and what does it mean to make inferences? So we learned that making inferences is when you read something and then you think about what you read, you think about the information that you have in your brain, and you come up with an idea. You come up with an idea or a statement that you can make about whatever it is that you may be talking about. In today's case, we're talking about Frida. So we're gonna think about her and her artwork and make some inferences about what helped her, or what helped her create such beautiful artwork and what made her such an amazing artist. So I hope you enjoy it today. And let's look at our cover. So it's titled Frida by Jonah Winter, illustrated by Anna Juan. So Jonah Winter is our author, of course, and illustrator Anna Juan, she is the person who put the illustrations together in this book. And I think you'll like the illustrations in this book. They are very helpful in understanding Frida's art style, and I think you'll enjoy looking at them and seeing how they help you understand her as an artist. So if we look at the cover, we see a little Frida, perhaps when she was a child. We see her, she has a paint palette in her hand, and she's up in the clouds. She's riding a bird, and she's painting a bird. And if you look at her face, look at her eyebrows. That's something very typical that you will see in her artwork. Okay, she likes to paint herself and draw herself, and it's usually with those type of eyebrows. So you may have seen that somewhere before, and I hope that this book piques some interest and helps you want to learn more about her. So let's get started. Here we see the title page with a beautiful sun, and look at those eyebrows. It's like a bird with its feathers open, but they're at the same time they're creating the eyebrows of the sun. Very beautiful, very creative. Here, this book was dedicated to my mother, JW, to the little artist who is in your heart. So the author dedicated that book to his mother. Okay, Frida enters the world. And there she is. For little Frida, the world is Mexico. Her house is a blue house. It is in the town of Coyoacan. Okay, so if I look at this page, I see many colorful characters. I wonder if this is how little Frida sees the world. What do you think? Okay, why would the illustrator do it like this? I wonder if that's their interpretation of what Frida must have saw when she was a child. Frida's father is an artist and a photographer. He teaches her how to use a paintbrush. So he's a photographer and he's an artist. Wow. So I think I can make the inference that Frida became a talented artist because her father was also an artist, okay? And it says it right there on the page. So I think he had a lot to do with how she became such a great artist. And it says that he's also a photographer. And a photographer is a person who uses a camera to take pictures. Frida's mother takes care of 6 sisters. Often she is tired. Often Frida is lonely, even though she has sisters. I wonder why Frida feels lonely if she has many sisters. What do you think? Could it be that her mom is busy taking care of all the children and maybe Frida's feeling lonely? What do you think, Maito? Yeah, you agree with me. Yeah. Seems like mom is very busy. Enter stage left, Frida's imaginary friend. Her name is also Frida. Imaginary friend. Do you know what an imaginary friend is? What do you think it is, Mike? Yeah. An imaginary friend is someone that you imagine, someone that's in your imagination. They're not a real person, but they exist in your imagination. Okay, so she has an imaginary friend and she has the same name as her. I think maybe her imaginary friend might be the one who keeps her company since she feels so lonely. All of a sudden, Frida falls very ill. She's in bed for months. There's something wrong with one of her legs. Even her imaginary friend can't cheer her. That's when Frida teaches herself how to draw. Drawing saves her from being sad. Let's look at those interesting pictures. So it says there that drawing saves her from being sad. So, talk to your reading pal. How can drawing save someone from being sad? Ask your reading pal. What do you think? How can that help? We thought that maybe it keeps her busy. So she's so busy drawing, maybe she doesn't have time to be sad. Were you thinking that? After Frida gets well, she still wants to make art. So she paints little paintings. They are copies of other paintings. Painting onto photographs is what Frida's father does for a living. He teaches her how to do this too. So we read that Frida continues to paint after she gets well. So I think I can infer that she really likes it and she must be pretty good at it. Okay, so now she can do other things now that she's not in bed, but she continues with the painting. So I think I can infer that she must really enjoy it. Do you agree? Frida also paints things she sees through a microscope. She loves looking at things very closely. Yeah. So I think Frida uses her imagination to help her with art. So let's look at the illustrations there. What do you notice about them? I noticed lots of pieces of fruit, but the strange thing is that everything has a face on it, or an eye, or a smile, or a nose. So very different, yes. I can tell that somebody's using their imagination there. At school, Frida studies science. She is bored. School is too easy. One day, well, actually, let me stop here. So I can infer that Frida must have been a very intelligent person because I read that she's bored and it says school is too easy. So if she's bored and school is too easily, maybe she's super intelligent and maybe she doesn't feel challenged enough. That's what I think. It says here, one day Frida is riding the bus home from school. A horrible accident happens. A trolley runs into the bus. Frida almost dies. Wow. Yeah, I think the illustrator did an amazing job of showing what must have happened through these illustrations. Look at the trolley. Look at Frida flying up in the air. Wow, so tragic. Yeah, I would see how this accident could be life-changing. It says here that she almost died. So I'm thinking this accident had a lot to do with how Frida lived her life. It really changed her life. In the hospital, it is painting that saves her once again. Painting is like her imaginary friend. It is there whenever she wants it. It keeps her company. It keeps her from giving up hope. Okay. So this page explains a lot about how Frida feels about painting. Okay, because it saves her from being lonely. It is her new imaginary friend, and it keeps her from giving up hope. So I can infer that painting is the most important thing to Frida at this point. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah, I think you'll agree with me. After the accident, life will never be the same for Frida. She will walk with a cane. When she is able to walk, her body will hurt always. I think this illustration is very powerful. We see a woman entangled or raveled in tree branches and vines that seem to be holding her. And I'm sure that must be painful, having that wrapped around you. And then if we look at the moon, we see sadness in the moon. Okay, we see the moon is shedding a tear. So the illustrator of this book did a good job explaining what Frida must have felt like. But Frida doesn't cry or complain. Instead of crying, she paints pictures of herself crying. When she can't leave her bed, she paints in bed. When her whole torso is put in a cast, she paints on the cast. So here I can infer that some of Frida's paintings express sadness, because on this page it explains that she doesn't cry or complain. Instead, she paints herself crying and feeling in pain. Okay, so she's able to express how she feels through her artwork. And there we see the characters also in tears. Are you loving it, Majito? Yeah, it's a beautiful story. Nothing can stop Frida from painting because she's so often alone, unable to leave her house. She has to use her imagination. She paints what she sees in her heart on top of what she sees with her eyes. It's almost like painting on photographs. Okay. So she uses her imagination, which many of us also use to help us. And I can infer that imagination must be very important to Frida, because here it states that she paints what she sees with her eyes and her heart. Okay, so we know that we see with our eyes, but she also uses her heart to influence her painting. So she can imagine with her heart, and she can see with her eyes. She paints little magical scenes with words at the bottom. All over Mexico, people paint these kinds of scenes. Sometimes they are scenes of accidents with angels coming to the rescue. They are like prayers for people who are sick. They are called ex-votos. Frida paints ex-votos of herself when she is sick or in pain. Frida imitates no one in her style. Her paintings are like nothing else. In museums, people still look at them and weep and sigh and smile. She turns her pain into something beautiful. It is like a miracle. So I can infer that Frida is original, because it states here that she doesn't imitate anybody else's style. And her paintings are like nobody else's. So we can say that Frida is a true original when it comes to her style of painting. And here we come to the final page that says, Viva Frida, long live Frida. So this was a beautiful book that talked a little bit about Frida as a child and what influenced her to become the great artist that she is. In the back of the page, they have an author's note that gives more facts and details about Frida Kahlo and her life as an adult, and how she went on to marry another famous artist and become the most famous couple in Mexico at one time. And this is a great book. I hope you enjoyed it. We actually have more than one copy of this book in our classroom library, so you can always go back and read it yourself. And let's look at what you're going to do to follow up today's lesson. Okay, and we'll also talk a little bit about the objective again. So we read through the book and we made inferences about Frida Kahlo's life and the beautiful artwork she created. So I think that we were able to take some of the facts that we know about her, some of the information that we learned about her, and our own ideas and thoughts, and come up with some inferences about her. And I think we did a good job together. So I feel like we did what we said we were going to do. We made objectives about Frida Kahlo. And I want you to follow up with an assignment in your notebook. So remember, you always have a writing notebook on hand. Turn to the first blank page. You will write the title of the book, Frida, put today's date. And in your notebook, write about Frida Kahlo. What kind of person and artist was she? What influenced her paintings? So let me say that again. In your notebook, write about Frida Kahlo. What kind of person and artist was she? What influenced her paintings? And when I say influenced her paintings, I want you to think about, what do you think inspired her? What made her create the paintings that she did create? Okay, so like I told you, this book just talks about her childhood and maybe how she began her art career. But if you take the time to go back and look online, you can find a whole lot more about her. You can learn a lot about her, and you can also see some of the wonderful paintings that she's well known for. So I hope you enjoyed today's interactive read aloud. Let's give a little hand to Mayito. She was a bit quiet, but I can tell that she was paying attention and learning, right, Mayito? Yes. So thank you for joining us, boys and girls, and I can't wait to see you soon. Bye.